I moved into a two-story house last spring. The garage had a small room above it, which I thought would be perfect for storage. On my second night, I was sitting in the living room when I heard heavy footsteps pacing slowly above me. The strange thing is, there's no way to get up there from inside the house. You have to go through the garage. When I went to check, the door to the room was locked from the inside. I knocked, thinking maybe a worker had accidentally gotten stuck there before I moved in, but there was no response. The next morning, the door was wide open. Every single box I had stored inside was stacked in a perfect circle in the middle of the floor. The dust on the floors was untouched, except for one single footprint in the center of the circle. The previous owners told us not to bother with the last door at the end of the upstairs hall. They said the lock was jammed and it was just storage. 3 days after moving in, I found the door wide open. Inside was a bare room with peeling wallpaper and a single chair facing the wall. When I stepped in, I felt a faint vibration in the floor, then the sound of slow breathing behind me. The door slammed so hard the frame cracked. I froze for nearly an hour before daring to turn the handle again. When I finally opened it, the room was empty, and the chair was gone. The first week in the new house was peaceful. Then one night around 2 a.m. I woke up to the sound of plates clinking and cupboards opening in the kitchen. I figured my roommate was making a late-night snack. I called out, "Hey, you good?" but got no answer. As I walked down the stairs, I realized every single cabinet door was open, every drawer pulled out. The room was completely still. I reached for the nearest door to close it, and that's when I heard it. A voice, low and close to my ear, whispering, "Don't close them." When I spun around, the kitchen was empty. The house was silent at night, except at 3 a.m. That's when footsteps would start in the living room, pacing in slow, steady circles. At first, I told myself it was the old wooden floor settling. But one night, the steps came down the hall and stopped right outside our bedroom. The doorknob began to turn, slowly, back and forth. We'd never locked our bedroom door before, but that night we did. Then came a whisper, my name drawn out in a long breath. I waited until morning to open the door. Every picture frame in the hallway was turned face down. There's an old mirror fixed to the hallway wall of our new home. We tried removing it, but it was bolted into the wall like it had been there for decades. Every night I'd catch a shadow moving behind me in the reflection, but the hallway would be empty when I turned. One evening, my wife stopped mid-step, staring at the glass. Her face went pale. She whispered, "Do you see her?" In the reflection, a pale woman stood between us, smiling faintly. Her head tilted slowly, and then she raised her hand to wave. When I spun around, the hallway was empty, but in the mirror, she was still there. One of the reasons we bought the house was the view. From our bedroom, you could see the tree line stretching for miles. One night, I woke up around 3 a.m. and noticed a flickering light between the trees, like someone holding a lantern. It moved slowly, weaving through the trunks, getting closer with every flicker. As it reached the edge of the woods, I realized it wasn't a lantern at all, and it was a tall, thin figure, its face pale even in the dark. It stopped right at the tree line, head tilted upward, staring directly at me. I quickly closed the blinds. When I turned back toward the bed, my heart froze. The figure was standing inside the room, only a few feet away. We moved into a small, two-story house just outside town. It looked old but charming, the kind of place you imagine starting fresh in. The real estate agent told us the attic was sealed shut years ago. On our first night, we heard a slow, deliberate creak from upstairs. When I checked, the wooden ladder to the attic was down, swaying slightly. I climbed up, and in the middle of the dusty floor sat a single rocking chair, moving gently like someone had just left it. The air up there felt damp and heavy. I turned to climb down, and that's when I heard the attic door slam shut from above me, even though I was already on the ladder. The first strange thing about the bathroom was the knocking. It always came in threes, knock, 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 followed by complete silence. One night as I was brushing my teeth, it started again, but louder. It was coming from inside the wall behind the mirror. The sound grew sharper, the mirror rattling in its frame. The lights above me began to flicker, and before I could move, the bathroom door slammed shut. I tried to pull it open, but it wouldn't budge. Then, in the steam on the mirror, letters began to form. slowly like an invisible finger was writing them. When the words were complete, I froze. I'm still here. The door suddenly swung open and the knocking stopped. We didn't use the basement much. It was always cold down there, even in the middle of summer. One morning, I woke up to see the basement light glowing under the door. When I went down, every single box we'd stacked neatly was now piled in the center of the floor. The smell of damp earth was stronger than usual. On the far wall, someone had written in the dust with a finger, "Get out." I backed up toward the stairs, and as I reached for the light switch, the bulb above me flickered, then went completely out. In the darkness, I heard footsteps moving toward me from the far end of the room.